Hello guys, this is Scotty Adams, aka the coach of the Victorian Vaporeons, here with another YouTube video. As I said on Twitter, I'm sorry for the inactivity recently, but I've just been so busy and haven't really had time to record, but I decided to record this video for my Underdog Pokemon League draft. The reason why is because I'm actually really happy with how this draft panned out, despite a few snipes happening, which I'll discuss when I get to the picks that were taken as replacements for those snipes. But overall, this is probably the most balanced team offensively and defensively, and a team that's drafted and fits my mentality when it comes to what I would like to draft in draft leagues. So let's get on to it. First of all, Jirachi. Jirachi is the epitome of versatility. Base 100 stats all around means that it can be offensive, defensive, special attacking, physical attacking, even a Scarfer, and just an overall nice mod. It's got really good coverage, so that not much can really answer it, and you've also got to play the game on whether or not it's going to get its secondary effective moves because of Serene Grace, which, as we all know, doubles the chances. Of course, Jirachi has the history of being a serial flincher, just like Togekiss, but more often than not, I like to run special. But hey, who knows, I can just as easily bust out a physical set with this mon. But overall, it was just a mon that I felt like put this team together and was perfect with what I wanted to do with it. Next up, the mascot Vaporeon. Now, you knew this pick was coming. I love this mon just so damn much. Just look, it's a really, really good bulky mon, especially on the special side. Base 130 HP and base 95 Speed F is nothing to sneeze at. Base 110 special attack means that I can go offensive if I want to, and I probably will at one point during the season. But, hey, no spoilers, I guess. Overall, it's just what it does best is Wish Pass, Toxic, Protect. It's just an overall cleric. It's even got Heal Bell to make sure that if anyone gets status, I can heal that too. Overall, just a very solid Gloomon for what this team's aiming to achieve. Next up, Hydreigon. Now, Hydreigon complements Jirachi like a hand in a glove. It resists fire, it's immune to ground thanks to Levitate, and anything that it's weak to, being Fairy, Dragon, Ice, Fighting, Jirachi is at the least neutral to it, and resists Ice and Fairy. Meaning and Dragon, essentially meaning that both can pivot in and out on each other's checks and counters and wear them down. Hydreigon, of course, being a very, very good special wall breaker with that base 125 special attack. But again, it is the epitome of versatile, as it has 92, 90, 90 defenses, 98 speed, and base 105 attack, so it can be physical. Speaking of physical, Mega Gallade. Now, this was going to be Mega Venusaur, who was my original Mega, but of course it got sniped. But, working around it, Gallade fits in with the identity of this team, being an offensive mon mostly. Its base 68 HP is questionable, but it can be somewhat defensive thanks to its base 95 defense and base 115 speed. Good speed tier as well at base 110. And just overall, outside of special attack, everything is just really balanced with it. So it fits in with the sort of bulky offensive identity that this team is wishing to create. A wish pun. Leading into Aromatisse. Now, Aromatisse has the nice ability Aroma Veil, which means that it cannot be taunted, almost guaranteeing that it will get off a Wish or a Toxic. Now, Aromatisse is a defensive mon, first and foremost, base 101 HP, 72 defense is air, it's fine, it can be worked with. And base 89 Speed F isn't great, but isn't bad either. Again, can be worked with. Base 29 speed isn't great, unfortunately. But again, speed isn't really the issue with the mod. Base 99 special attack is definitely something I can work with. And again, makes it a more versatile mod, as it can go offensive in a pinch, as well as being a defensive mod with an offensive presence, which are the kind of mods I really like. Florges was actually the original pick, but again was sniped. So Aromatisse basically fills in as that secondary option that fills the same purpose as Aromatisse, as Florges, sorry. And overall fits in with the identity, as well as covering the Fairy Dragon Steel Core, along with Hydreigon and Jirachi. Amoonguss. Amoonguss was the like-for-like replacement for Mega Venusaur. Base 114 HP, base 70 defense, base 80 Speed F. Basically tells you that it is a mixed defensive wall. Its base 85 special attack is actually really nifty as well, meaning that it can be somewhat of an offensive presence if needed too. And again, as I said, I really like. Now speed is an issue, but is again very workable. Plus, it's just there to take hits, pivot in and out thanks to regen, and just be an annoying nuisance throughout. Battles. Now we go on to a full-on offensive mon in the form of Thundy. Thundy is actually incredible offensively, both physically and specially, as well as a nice speed tier at base 111. Means that it has that offensive versatility, as well as just being able to plow through teams if it's able to set up a nasty block. I have given it a Z Crystal along with Hydreigon to basically turn it into a one-time nuke as well, and offering it another versatile purpose. Prankster, very good ability, as we all know. Prankster Thunder Wave, Prankster Nasty Plot. Essentially means that it can set up even against Taunters, or it can act as speed control thanks to Thunder Wave. Both of which will probably be explored during the season. But overall, just another offensive mod that fits in with the identities team's trying to create. Dusclops. Now, Dusclops was actually a really late pick. The reason why I ended up picking it up was because I love my bulky ghost types. And Dusclops fits that perfectly. Look at it. Yes, base 40 HP, but it's like Toxapex. It has really, really good defense and Speed F. Nice immunities to normal and fighting as well. Ghost and Dark weakness is but if that's the only weaknesses it has, then it is definitely a really good defensive mod to have. Not the greatest offensive presence, but there's at least a semblance of that there with base 70 attack. Base 60 special attack isn't great, but again, it's mostly the defensive mod. Alolan-Muk. Another very, very balanced mod. Physical, Assault Vest user, Poison Touch to basically lift the chance of poison on any contact move, like Poison Jab, even knock off in that, acquire a chance to poison. Nice HP at 105. Equal with its attack, also 105. Base 100 Speed F, which is what makes it a really good Assault Vest user. Everything else is either middling or below average, but again, workable. Another versatile offensive or defensive mod that fits with the team's identity. Torkoal. Torkoal is physically defensive, of course. Base 140 defense implies that. Now, I know that it's a Sun user, and I don't actually have a Sun abuser, but it wasn't actually drafted for Sun. It was drafted as a rapid spinner that has an offensive presence, and can beat spin blockers due to that. It's another slow mon, but again, if I really wanted to, I might be able to run Trick Room. Again, that's not necessarily what this team wants to do. Most of all, it is a defensive rapid spinner that has enough of an offensive presence, and again fits with the balanced identity of the team. Yet, Hitmontop, the epitome of balanced. Yes, base 50 HP. Base 110 Spin F, again, great with an Assault Vest. Base 95 defense is good, especially when you make it even bulkier with Intimidate to drop the attack of threatening physical sweepers that your opponent might have. Base 95 attack is solid. Pitiful base 35 special attack. And middling base 70 speed. Overall, it was mainly drafted as just sort of a balanced offensive mon. And that's what it does. Yes, I have two fighting types, but they both pretty much wear down each other's checks and counters, and it balances itself out enough, as well as being another rapid spinner in the case of Hitmontop. And now for my final mon, Glilgar. Glilgar is a good defogger. It is also a good physically defensive mon. Not the greatest defensive stats on the special side, but Eviolite does help with that. Good enough offense at 75, not great. Probably just middling at best, but still workable. Base 85 speed means that it's actually got decent enough speed there. It's a nice stealth rocker, defogger, as well as being a physically defensive wall that can force opponents to really have to think about how do they break it. And for the final time this video, it fits with the balanced identity of this draft. Overall, I'm actually really happy with how this draft turned out, despite the snipes, and despite it not necessarily being in the image that I had originally envisioned. But I can definitely work with that. Next up will probably be the team builder for my week 1 battle against the LA Lopunnies. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.